The gleaming hull of the Endeavour reflected the distant starlight as it pushed further beyond Earth's solar system than any human vessel had traveled before. Commander Olivia Garrison stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. After 15 years of service in Earth Space Forces, this mission represented everything she had worked for. "Jump complete, Commander," said Lieutenant Kevin Phillips from a navigation console. "All systems nominal. We've arrived at the target coordinates." Olivia nodded, allowing herself a small smile. "Send the standard greeting package on all frequencies, Lieutenant. Let's see if anyone's listening out here." The bridge of the Endeavour was quiet as the crew went about their duties. Dr. Eleanor Wright, the ship's xenobiologist, checked her instruments with eager anticipation. This far from Earth, they might encounter truly alien life forms, not just the simple organisms found on Mars and Europa. Chief Engineer Samuel Benson monitored the experimental drive systems that had brought them here. The faster-than-light technology was still new, developed only 8 years ago, but had transformed humanity's place in the cosmos. From being trapped in one solar system, they now had the stars within reach. "Commander, I'm detecting an energy signature," Security Officer Daniel Reeves announced suddenly. "It's large and it's moving. Definitely artificial." Olivia felt her heart rate increase. On screen, maximum magnification. The view screen shifted to show a distant object, growing larger as it approached. The vessel was unlike anything built by human hands. Its hull was dark and segmented, resembling the exoskeleton of an Earth insect, but scaled up to massive proportions. "It's beautiful," Eleanor whispered. "And heavily armed," Daniel added, his fingers moving over his console. "I'm detecting multiple energy weapons and what appears to be some kind of shielding technology." Olivia straightened her uniform. "This is it, people. First contact. Keep the greeting package broadcasting and prepare to receive any response." The alien vessel grew larger on the screen as it approached, until it dwarfed the Endeavour. Its segmented hull plates shifted slightly, revealing ports from which smaller craft could potentially launch. "We're receiving a transmission," Kevin reported. "It's complex. The computer is struggling to interpret it." Routed through the first contact protocols, Olivia ordered. Earth scientists had developed translation algorithms based on mathematical principles they believed would be universal. It was their best guess at how to communicate with alien intelligence. Minutes passed as the computer worked. The alien vessel maintained its position, neither advancing nor retreating. Translation matrix established, Kevin finally announced. "It's still rough, but we're getting something." The speakers crackled with a harsh, clicking voice. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered Zorlian space. Identify your species, origin, and purpose immediately." Olivia took a deep breath. "This is Commander Olivia Garrison of the Earth vessel Endeavour. We are humans from the planet Earth, on a peaceful mission of exploration. We seek friendly contact with other intelligent species." The response came quickly. "Earth vessel, your presence is unexpected. The Zorlian Confederacy claims dominion over the sector. State your territorial claims." Kevin looked up from his console. "Commander, I think they're asking about our territory. What should I tell them?" Olivia considered carefully. "Tell them we claim our home solar system only, but that we are exploring beyond it with peaceful intentions." Kevin nodded and transmitted the message. The response was delayed this time. "The translation might be off," Eleanor suggested. "Their language patterns are likely based on completely different cultural foundations than ours." When the alien voice returned, it sounded different somehow. "You claim to be peaceful, yet you speak of expansion. The Zorlian Confederacy does not recognize your right to transit our space. Maintain position for boarding and inspection." Daniel's console lit up with warnings. "Commander, they're powering up something. Might be weapons, might be scanning equipment. I can't tell. Keep our posture non-threatening," Olivia ordered, "but ready the shields just in case." Samuel spoke up from the engineering station. "Commander, the reflection shields aren't tested for combat. They're designed to protect against stellar radiation and micrometeorites." "Understood, but they're all we've got," Olivia replied. "Kevin, transmit again. Explain that we will comply, but requests clarification on their intentions. Before Kevin could send a message, the alien vessel emitted a bright pulse of energy. It wasn't aimed directly at the Endeavor, but at a point near its bow. "Warning shot," Daniel said, his voice tense. "They're trying to intimidate us." "Or the standard procedure for them," Eleanor suggested. "We can't assume their actions match our interpretations." The Zorlian voice came through again. "Your vessel's design is unknown to our records. Your claimed origin is not registered with the Galactic Council. You will submit to authority or face consequences." Olivia started to respond when Samuel shouted from the station. "They're charging weapons. Real weapons this time, aimed right at us. Evasive maneuvers." Olivia ordered, "Activate shields." The Endeavor lurched as Kevin initiated the evasive pattern. Samuel's fingers flew across his console, bringing the experimental reflection shields online for the first time in actual space. The Zorlian vessel fired. A streak of blue energy shot toward the Endeavor. When it struck the shields, something unexpected happened. Instead of dissipating as designed, the shields bent the energy and reflected it back toward the source. The bridge crew watched in horror as the reflected beam struck the Zorlian vessel, hitting one of its segment junctions. The alien ship shuddered visibly. "What just happened?" Olivia demanded. Samuel looked up from his console, his face pale. "The shields! They weren't supposed to do that. Something in the alien weapon's frequency caused our shields to reflect rather than absorb." The Zorlian vessel was pulling away now, its movement suggesting damage. "They're broadcasting something," Kevin reported. "It's being sent in all directions, not just to us." The translation came through, and the bridge fell silent as they listened to the Zorlian message. "All Confederate forces. First contact with species human from planet Earth. Unprovoked attack on diplomatic vessel. Consider humans hostile. The humans have declared war." "That's not what happened," Daniel protested. "They fired first." Eleanor shook her head. "From their perspective, we might have just committed an act of war. Our shield reflected their shot back at them with greater force than they used on us. They might think it was a deliberate attack." Olivia sank into her command chair. "Send all logs and recordings of what just happened back to Earth immediately. Use the quantum channel, so there's no delay." She turned to Kevin. "Then get us out of here. Maximum speed back to Earth." As the Endeavor turned away from the damaged Zorlian vessel, Olivia stared at the view screen. In the span of minutes, humanity's first contact with alien life had gone catastrophically wrong. "Do you think they'll come after us?" Samuel asked quietly. Daniel checked his instruments. "The damage to their ship looks significant. They'll need time to repair. But those transmissions they sent, they're calling for others. We need to warn Earth," Olivia said, her voice steady despite her racing thoughts. "We just accidentally started a war with a species that's clearly part of a larger galactic community, and they have technology far beyond ours." The Endeavor accelerated away, its experimental engines pushing to their limits. Behind them, the damaged Zorlian vessel continued broadcasting its message of human aggression to the stars. 3 days later, the Endeavor was halfway back to Earth when they detected multiple large objects moving at incredible speeds on an intercept course. "More Zorlian ships," Daniel confirmed. "Bigger than the first one. They'll reach Earth about 2 days after we do." Olivia looked at her crew, their faces showing the same determination she felt. "Then we have 2 days to prepare Earth for what's coming. We made first contact and accidentally started a war. Now we need to find a way to survive it." As the Endeavor raced toward home, carrying news that would forever change humanity's place in the cosmos, Olivia couldn't help but wonder if they would be remembered as explorers or as the crew that brought destruction upon Earth. Either way, humanity was about to face its greatest challenge, a war with beings they knew almost nothing about, sparked by a misunderstanding in a technology that worked too well. The galaxy was about to learn that starting a war with humans might be the deadliest mistake any species could make. Ambassador Laura Bennett smoothed down her formal blue uniform and took a deep breath. The curved hallway of Proxima Station stretched before her, its walls shimmering with a pearly light that wasn't quite natural. 3 months had passed since the Endeavor incident, and things had only gotten worse. "They're ready for us," said Ryan Collins, her young aide, fresh out of diplomatic training. Ryan had never expected his first assignment would involve representing all of humanity before an assembly of alien species. Laura nodded. "Remember, stay calm no matter what they say. We're not just speaking for Earth today. We're speaking for every human who will ever live." The doors of the council chamber slid open silently. Laura felt her heart pound as she stepped inside. The room was massive, with a circular arrangement of seats surrounding a central speaking area. 24 different species sat in those seats, most of them completely alien to human eyes. The Zorlian representatives were easy to spot. Their insectoid bodies, with hard exoskeletons and multiple limbs, matched the descriptions from the Endeavor's logs. They clicked their mandibles as Laura and Ryan entered. At the center of the chamber stood a tall, willowy being with pale blue skin. "Ambassador Bennett of Earth, the being announced. The Galactic Council recognizes your presence. I am Moderator Elzen. You may present your case." Laura stepped forward, though she had prepared extensively. Standing before representatives of 24 spacefaring civilizations made her mouth go dry. "Honored members of the Council, I come before you to correct a grave misunderstanding. 3 months ago, a human exploration vessel encountered a Zorlian ship. What followed was not an act of aggression, but a tragic accident caused by miscommunication and untested technology. She activated a small device on her wrist. A holographic display appeared, showing the recorded footage from the Endeavor's logs. As you can see, our vessel responded to a warning shot with defensive shields only. The reflection of energy was unintentional. Before the recording finished, the Zorlian representative stood up. His voice was harsh and mechanical, clearly coming through a translation device. "This recording has been altered. The human vessel fired directly at our diplomatic ship after refusing lawful inspection. We have our own evidence." The Zorlian activated a similar device. The footage it displayed showed a significantly different version of events. In their recording, the Endeavor appeared to maneuver aggressively before firing a powerful weapon at the Zorlian ship. Laura felt a flash of anger, but kept her expression neutral. "That footage has been edited. Our logs are complete and unaltered." Murmurs spread to the chamber as the various representatives discussed among themselves. Laura couldn't understand most of their languages, but the tone suggested skepticism and confusion. A representative from a silicon-based species called the Midorians rose next. Their crystalline body structure caught the light as they moved. "The Council should exercise caution in this matter," the Midorian said, their voice like wind chimes. "There are ancient records speaking of beings from this sector of space. Adaptable, resilient, dangerous when provoked." The Zorlian representative made a sharp, clicking sound. "Ancient legends do not concern us, Counselor Vextau. We deal in facts. And the facts show that these humans are primitives who barely understand spaceflight. Their technology is borrowed and crude. They represent no real threat, merely an irritation that must be addressed before they spread further." Ryan tensed beside Laura. She could feel his anger building. She placed a warning hand on his arm, but it was too late. "We developed spaceflight in less than a century after power flight," Ryan said loudly, stepping forward. "How long did it take your species, Ambassador?" 10,000 years. The chamber erupted into shocked murmurs. Such direct confrontation violated all diplomatic protocols. Laura pulled Ryan back, but the damage was done. The Zorlian representative's mandibles clicked rapidly. "This display of aggression only confirms our assessment. Humans are dangerous, uncontrolled, and have no place in civilized space." Moderator Elzen raised a hand for silence. "The Council will review both recordings and confer. This session will resume tomorrow. Until then, all parties are to remain on Proxima Station." As they left the chamber, Laura fought to control her frustration. "Ryan, what were you thinking? You can't speak out like that in formal proceedings." Ryan's face was flushed. "They were lying about us, calling us primitives when they don't even know what humans are capable of." "That's exactly the point," Laura said quietly. "They don't know what we're capable of. And right now, that's our only advantage." Back in their assigned quarters, Laura reviewed information about the council members. The Midorians seemed potentially sympathetic, but most species appeared to be aligned with the Zorlians or were simply cautious of taking sides. A soft chime indicated someone at their door. Laura opened it to find the Midorian representative, Counselor Vextal, standing in the hallway. Ambassador Bennett, the crystalline being said, "May I enter? I believe we should speak privately." Laura nodded, though she felt uneasy. "Please come in, Counselor." Vextal's movements were fluid despite their seemingly rigid body structure. "What I am about to tell you is not officially sanctioned by my government, but I believe you should know. The Zorlian Confederacy has already moved a fleet to the edge of your solar system." Laura felt her blood run cold. They're planning to attack Earth? Before the Council even makes a decision? The Council rarely prevents conflicts between non-member species. Vextal said, "They prefer to observe and document. The Zorlians know this and are acting accordingly. Why are you telling me this?" Laura asked. The Midorian's crystalline form caught the light. "Because the legends I mentioned are real. 10,000 standard cycles ago, a species from your region of space made contact with the wider galaxy. They were few in number, but their impact was significant. Some believe humans may be their descendants." Laura frowned. "What happened to them?" "They disappeared. Some say they retreated to their home world. Others believe they evolved into something beyond our understanding." Vextal moved toward the door. "The Zorlians fear what they do not understand, and they do not understand you." After the Midorian left, Laura contacted Earth using a secure quantum channel. The news about the Zorlian fleet confirmed their worst fears. "Our sensors detected them 3 days ago. Admiral William Foster reported from Lunar Command. 12 ships against hundreds. Not great odds." "The Council session continues tomorrow," Laura said. "But I don't think we can count on their help." "Then we'll have to help ourselves," the Admiral replied grimly. Foster out. The next day, the Council chamber was tense as representatives took their seats. Before moderator Elzen could begin, the Zorlian representative stood. "The Zorlian Confederacy has made its decision," he announced. "Regardless of this Council's findings, we intend to neutralize a human threat. Our fleet is already in position." Laura stepped forward. "Your fleet's presence is an act of aggression against a peaceful species. We have done nothing to provoke this response." "Your very existence is provocation enough," the Zorlian replied. "You are unpredictable, dangerous. The recording from your vessel shows technology you should not possess. Reflection shields are beyond your development level." "So this is about technology?" Laura asked. "You're afraid we might advance too quickly?" The chamber fell silent as the Zorlian and human representatives faced each other. "The Confederacy has maintained order in this sector for 50,000 cycles," the Zorlian said finally. "We will not allow an upstart species to disrupt that order." Laura looked around the chamber, making eye contact with as many representatives as possible. "Members of the Council, today you witnessed the true nature of this conflict. It is not about a misunderstanding between vessels. It is about fear. The Zorlians fear what humanity might become." She straightened her shoulders. "I cannot prevent the Zorlian fleet from attacking my homeworld, but I can promise you this. If they proceed, they will learn exactly why they should fear us." As she left the chamber with Ryan, Laura's communicator beeped with an urgent message from Earth. The Zorlian fleet had begun its advance. The war had officially begun, and the galaxy was about to learn just how dangerous humans could be when fighting for their survival. Admiral William Foster stood at the large viewing window of Lunar Command, staring at the distant blue sphere of Earth. For 30 years he had served in Earth's space forces, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. The fate of humanity now rested on the shoulders of 12 military vessels against a fleet of hundreds. "Admiral, the Zorlian ships have passed Mars' orbit," reported his communications officer. "They'll be in weapons range in 14 hours. William nodded, his weathered face giving away none of the fear he felt inside. "Send the signal to deploy all vessels according to Plan Delta. And get me Dr. Chin on the secure line." Minutes later, the face of Dr. Natalie Chin appeared on his screen. Dark circles under her eyes revealed she hadn't slept in days. Please tell me you have good news, Doctor, William said. Natalie ran a hand through her disheveled hair. We've managed to replicate the reflection shield technology from the Endeavor. It's not perfect, but it works. We've installed it on all 12 ships. Will it be enough? William asked. Against their energy weapons, yes, but we have no idea what other technology they might have. She hesitated. There's something else you should know. We've modified the shields to actively reflect energy rather than just passively doing so. It's untested in combat, but at this point, Doctor, we'll take any advantage we can get. William ended the call and turned to his tactical officer. Show me our fleet positions. A holographic display appeared, showing the 12 Earth vessels positioned in a loose formation between Earth and the approaching Zorlian fleet. The human ships looked tiny compared to the massive enemy vessels. William activated the fleet-wide communication channel. This is Admiral Foster to all ships. You know what we're facing. You know the odds. But remember this. Throughout human history, we have faced impossible odds before and prevailed. Today is no different. We fight not just for ourselves, but for everyone and everything we've ever known. Earth is counting on us. On board the defense vessel Defiant, Captain Alicia Rodriguez listened to the Admiral's words while checking her ship's systems one final time. The Defiant was the newest addition to Earth's small fleet, rushed into service when the Zorlian threat became clear. All systems green, Captain, her first officer reported. Reflection shields at full capacity. Alicia nodded. Maintain position and prepare for my command. The hours passed slowly as the Zorlian fleet approached. On Earth below, billions of people watched the news with bated breath. This was humanity's first interstellar war, and it might well be their last. Zorlian fleet has entered weapons range, announced the tactical officer at Lunar Command. They're forming up in a standard attack pattern. 3 waves, with heavy vessels in the rear. William studied the display. The Zorlians were using textbook formation tactics, exactly as expected from a species that relied on rigid patterns and protocols. Send the order. Execute Plan Delta. Across the small human fleet, engines flared to life. But instead of forming a defensive line, as the Zorlians might have expected, the Earth vessels did something entirely unexpected. They scattered in 12 different directions. In the lead Zorlian vessel, Commander Zex Vrex watched with confusion. What are they doing? This is not a recognized formation. His tactical officer's mandibles clicked nervously. They appear to be running away? No, not exactly. They're moving to widely separated positions. It makes no difference, Zex Vrex said. Begin the attack. First wave forward. The first wave of 30 Zorlian ships advanced, weapons charging. But as they moved forward, the human vessels suddenly changed course again. Instead of continuing to flee, they turned and accelerated directly toward the Zorlian formation. They're on a collision course, shouted the Zorlian tactical officer. Impossible, Zex Vrex replied. No species would sacrifice their ships this way. But the human vessels continued their suicidal charge. At the last possible moment, they veered off, passing through gaps in the Zorlian formation and causing confusion as the alien ships tried to track them. Fire, ordered Zex Vrex. Energy weapons lashed out from the Zorlian ships, but the humans were moving too erratically to target effectively. When the energy beams did connect, something unexpected happened. The human vessel's shields glowed brightly, and the energy reflected back toward the Zorlian ships, often hitting a different vessel than the one that had fired. In Lunar Command, William watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. Just as we planned. Tell all ships to execute Phase 2. The Earth vessels regrouped briefly, then scattered again, this time heading toward the asteroid belt that lay between Mars and Jupiter. The Zorlians followed, apparently intent on finishing what they had started. They're taking the bait, William murmured. The human ships darted among the asteroids, using the large space rocks as cover. The Zorlians, unfamiliar with this kind of irregular terrain combat, struggled to maintain their formation as they pursued. Captain Alicia Rodriguez guided the Defiant around a particularly large asteroid, then cut engines and waited. When 3 Zorlian ships passed by in pursuit of another human vessel, she ordered full power restored and fell in behind them. "Fire all weapons," she commanded. The Defiant's conventional weapons weren't nearly as powerful as the Zorlians, but coming from an unexpected direction, they struck vulnerable points on the alien ships. One Zorlian vessel exploded as a missile hit its engine section. Similar scenes played out across the asteroid field as the human ships used guerrilla tactics against a numerically superior force. They would strike quickly from hiding, then disappear again among the asteroids. Commander Zexrex watched in growing anger as his tactical display showed one Zorlian ship after another reporting damage or going silent. This is not how space combat is conducted. They're fighting without honor, without proper formation. His second-in-command approached cautiously. "Sir, we've lost 17 vessels and damaged none of theirs. Perhaps we should regroup and—" "No. Bring in the second wave. We will crush these humans with overwhelming force." As the second wave of Zorlian ships entered the battle, William Foster received a transmission from Captain Rodriguez. Her face appeared on the screen, her bridge filled with smoke. "Admiral, the Defiant has taken heavy damage. Our main engines are offline, and life support is failing. Withdraw immediately, Captain," William ordered. "Get your crew to safety." Alicia shook her head. "No time for that, sir. But we can still do some good." The transmission cut off abruptly. William watched in horror as the Defiant, trailing debris and venting atmosphere, suddenly fired at emergency thrusters. The damaged vessel accelerated directly toward the largest Zorlian ship in the second wave. "She's ramming them," someone whispered in Lunar Command. The Defiant struck the Zorlian vessel with tremendous force. Everyone expected both ships to be destroyed in the impact, but something extraordinary happened. The reflection shields on the Defiant flared brilliantly at the moment of contact, creating a strange effect that seemed to absorb and redirect the kinetic energy. The Zorlian ship broke apart, while the Defiant, though severely damaged, remained largely intact. "Life signs detected on the Defiant," reported the sensor officer. "Captain Rodriguez is alive." A cheer went up in Lunar Command. William allowed himself a brief smile before turning back to the tactical display. "Order the rescue vessels to retrieve the Defiant's crew. All other ships continue as planned." The battle raged for hours. The human fleet, though outnumbered, continued to use unorthodox tactics that the Zorlians struggled to counter. They used asteroids as weapons, luring Zorlian ships into positions where they could trigger rock slides in space. They worked in pairs, one ship drawing fire while another attacked from behind. In his command ship, Zexrex received increasingly desperate reports from his fleet. "Sir, they fight like no civilized species. No formations, no adherence to tactical doctrine. They fight like predators." Zexrex stared at the tactical display, watching as another group of his ships fell into a human trap. "Order all ships to withdraw. We will regroup beyond their moon and prepare a proper strategy." As the Zorlian fleet retreated, the exhausted human defenders allowed themselves a moment of celebration. They had survived the first attack without losing a single ship, while the Zorlians had lost 23 vessels. In Lunar Command, William Foster knew this was only the beginning. "They'll be back, and they'll be smarter next time. We need to prepare." Dr. Chin joined him at the viewing window. "What you did today was remarkable, Admiral. You applied Earth's military history to space combat." William nodded. 2,000 years of warfare gave us something the Zorlians don't have: adaptability. They fight by the book. We threw the book away long ago. As they watched Earth rotate peacefully below them, both knew that the real test was yet to come. The Zorlians would return with a new strategy. But now they knew that starting a war with humanity had been a grave mistake. 6 months had passed since the first battle with the Zorlians. Earth remained under blockade, cut off from the rest of the galaxy. The initial victory had bought humanity time, but everyone knew it was only temporary. The Zorlian Confederacy controlled hundreds of star systems and could bring far more resources to bear than Earth's single system. In her laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Natalie Chin studied the holographic display of a Zorlian weapon. They had recovered from debris after the battle. For months, her team had worked to understand alien technology, reverse engineering what they could give humanity an edge. The energy signature is fascinating, she told her assistant. Their weapons are actually quite inefficient. They waste almost 40% of their power output. Her assistant nodded. They probably never needed to be efficient. With their resources, they could afford to waste energy. Natalie smiled slightly. And that's our advantage. We've always had to do more with less. She tapped a control, and the display changed to show a new weapon design. This prototype uses elements of their technology, but with human efficiency improvements. It's twice as powerful while using half the energy. The laboratory intercom chimed. Dr. Chun, Admiral Foster is requesting your presence in the war room immediately. The war room was located in the deepest level of the facility. When Natalie arrived, she found Admiral Foster and several other military leaders gathered around a large tactical display. Doctor, thank you for coming, William said. We have a situation. The display showed the outer edge of the solar system, where a massive fleet of ships was gathering, far larger than the first attack force. Long-range sensors detected them early this morning, William explained. Intelligence suggests this is the main Zorlian battle fleet, led by their High Commander Zexkill himself. Natalie studied the display. How many ships? Over 500. And these appear to be their heavy combat vessels, not the lighter ships we faced before. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the implications. Earth's fleet now numbered 20 ships, with several more under construction. The odds were even worse than before. What about the new weapon systems? William asked. Ready for deployment, Natalie replied. But even with superior technology, those numbers... She didn't need to finish the thought. Everyone understood. William straightened his shoulders. We faced impossible odds before. We'll do it again. He turned to his communications officer. Send word to all ships. Battle stations in 6 hours. But before the message could be sent, an urgent alert sounded. Sir, we're detecting 5 unknown vessels near Jupiter. They're not Zorlian, and they're moving fast. The tactical display shifted to show the new arrivals. The vessels were unlike anything humans or Zorlians had built. They were sleek, almost organic in appearance, with surfaces that seemed to shimmer and change as they moved. Are they hostile? William demanded. Unknown, sir. They're not broadcasting any recognition signals we understand. Wait, we're receiving a transmission. The main screen in the war room flickered to life, showing a humanoid figure. The being had pale silver skin and eyes that were entirely black, with no visible pupils or whites. Despite the alien appearance, there was something almost familiar about the face. People of Earth, the being said in perfect English. I am Xylos, ambassador of the Viridian Collective. We have been observing your conflict with the Zorlian Confederacy. We wish to speak with your leaders. William and Natalie exchanged glances. This is Admiral William Foster of Earth Defense. Why have you come to our system? To meet our neighbors, Xylos replied, and perhaps to prevent an unnecessary slaughter. The Zorlians do not understand what they have awakened. We do. 2 hours later, a Viridian shuttle docked at Lunar Command. Ambassador Xylos was escorted to a conference room where Earth's military and political leaders waited. Despite their alien appearance, the Viridians moved with a grace that seemed almost human. Thank you for receiving me, Xylos said, taking a seat at the table. We have much to discuss and little time. Earth's President, Karen Mitchell, spoke first. Your arrival is unexpected, Ambassador. Until 6 months ago, we believed we were alone in the galaxy. Xylos nodded. You were not ready for contact. Not yet. We have been watching your development for some time. Watching us? William asked sharply. For what purpose? To see what you would become, Xylos replied. Your species has great potential. Greater than you know. Natalie leaned forward. You said you understand what the Zorlians have awakened. What did you mean by that? Xylos turned those unsettling black eyes toward her. The Zorlians believe they are the dominant species in this sector of the galaxy. They have been unchallenged for millennia. But there are older species, more powerful ones. Like yours? President Mitchell asked. Yes. The Viridian Collective has existed for over 50,000 of your years. We have technology you cannot imagine, but we choose to remain apart, to observe rather than interfere. Until now, William noted. Until now, Xylos agreed, because the Zorlians have made a grave error. They have attacked a species that should not be underestimated. Natalie's eyes widened as she began to understand. You're talking about us. Humans. Xylos stood and walked to the viewing window, looking out at the stars. We have watched your kind rise from primitive beginnings. In less than 10,000 years, you have gone from simple tools to interstellar travel. Your rate of advancement is unprecedented. The Zorlians don't seem impressed, William said dryly. The Zorlians are blind to what we see clearly. Xylos turned back to face them. We have taken genetic samples from your world over centuries. We know the truth that the Zorlians do not. President Mitchell frowned. What truth? That humans share a genetic lineage with the Viridians. You are our distant cousins, separated by millions of years of evolution. The room fell silent as the Earth leaders processed this revelation. Finally, Natalie spoke. You're saying we're related to you? How is that possible? The galaxy is ancient, Dr. Chun. Species rise and fall. Some seed their DNA across worlds before they fade. Your people and mine share common ancestors from a time before recorded history. Before anyone could respond, an alert sounded. William checked his communication device. The Zorlian fleet is advancing. High Commander Zexscaler has issued an ultimatum. Earth must surrender unconditionally within 6 hours or face annihilation. Xylos seemed unsurprised. Zexscaler is known for his arrogance. He believes his victory is assured. And is it? President Mitchell asked quietly. That depends on your next choice. Xylos placed a small device on the table. It projected a hologram of the solar system, showing both the Zorlian fleet and the 5 Viridian vessels. My people are prepared to stand with Earth against the Zorlians. Our ships are few, but our technology is far beyond theirs. If we join forces, the Zorlians will be defeated. William studied the hologram. Why would you help us? What do you gain? An alliance with our long-lost cousins. And perhaps, in time, a new member of the Viridian Collective. Xylos' expression was unreadable. You have demonstrated your potential. Now we offer you protection as you continue to develop. President Mitchell exchanged glances with her advisors. We need time to discuss this offer, Ambassador. Of course, but do not take too long. The Zorlians will not wait. Xylos moved toward the door, then paused. One more thing you should know. The Zorlian High Commander has learned of our presence here. He fears what an alliance between humans and Viridians might mean. His fleet is already adjusting course to intercept our vessels. After the Viridians departed, Earth's leaders debated their options. The offer of advanced alien protection was tempting, but some expressed concerns. We know nothing about these Viridians, William pointed out, except that they've apparently been studying us for centuries without our knowledge. Natalie nodded. And this claim of genetic relationship, I'd need to verify that with actual samples. President Mitchell sighed. We may not have time for scientific verification. Doctor, the Zorlian fleet will be in striking distance in less than 5 hours. We need to decide now, do we trust the Viridians or do we face the Zorlians alone? As they debated, in another part of the solar system, a small human scout ship called the Horizon drifted silently near Jupiter's moon Europa. Captain Jason Miller had been mapping the outer system when the Viridian ships arrived. Instead of return to Earth as ordered, he had maintained position, watching. Something doesn't feel right, he told Dr. Eleanor Wright, who had joined his mission as science officer. The timing is too convenient. Eleanor nodded. And their story about genetic relationships. It's plausible, but without evidence. Exactly. Jason studied the sensor readings of the Viridian ships. I think we need to look deeper before Earth makes any alliance. As the Zorlian fleet advanced and Earth prepared for another battle, the true intentions of mysterious Viridians remained unknown. The galaxy was watching, waiting to see if humanity would survive, and what they might become if they did. Captain Jason Miller guided the Horizon carefully through the debris field surrounding one of Jupiter's smaller moons. His small scout ship was designed for stealth, and he intended to use that advantage. Something about the Viridians bothered him deeply, and he needed answers before Earth committed to an alliance that might prove dangerous. I've analyzed the communication patterns of the Viridian ships, Dr. Eleanor Wright said, looking up from her console. They're transmitting large data packets toward the edge of the solar system. Jason frowned. To whom? The Zorlians. Unknown, but the transmissions are heavily encrypted. Whatever they're sending, they don't want anyone to know about it. Jason made a decision. We need a sample of Viridian DNA to verify their claims about our shared ancestry. I'm going to take us closer to their command ship. Using the Horizon's advanced stealth systems, they approached the largest Viridian vessel. As they drew near, Eleanor's instruments detected something unusual. I'm picking up energy readings that don't match anything in our database, she reported. And there's something else. Historical records being accessed from Earth's network by the Viridian ships. What kind of historical records? Ancient conflicts, Earth wars, military tactics. They're studying how humans fight. Jason's suspicions deepened. Why would they need that information if they're our allies? Unless they're preparing to fight us, Eleanor finished grimly. As they watched, a small probe detached from the Viridian vessel. Jason tracked its course. It's heading for Earth. Can you scan it? Eleanor focused her instruments on the probe. It's collecting data, biological samples. I think it's scanning for genetic information. We need to report this immediately, Jason said, turning the Horizon back toward Earth. And we need to get there before Earth makes a decision about the alliance. Back on Earth, the debate continued. The Zorlian fleet was now just hours away, and a decision had to be made. The Viridians offer us protection not just now, but for the future, argued one government official. With their technology, we could become a major power in the galaxy. Admiral Foster remained unconvinced. At what cost? We know nothing about their society, their true intentions. If we accept their help, we may find ourselves trading one threat for another. President Mitchell looked tired but resolute. We've received a formal communication from High Commander Zexcaler. The Zorlians demand our complete surrender and the dismantling of our fleet. In return, they promise not to destroy Earth itself, merely to manage our development for the next 1,000 years. Enslavement. In other words, Dr. Chen said quietly. The room fell silent. Finally, President Mitchell spoke. We have 2 hours to respond to the Zorlians. Before we do, I want all the information we have on the Viridians. At that moment, an urgent message came through. Ma'am, the scout ship Horizon is requesting emergency communication with you. Captain Miller says it's about the Viridians. Minutes later, Jason and Eleanor's faces appeared on the main screen. They looked exhausted but determined. Madam President, Admiral, we have reason to believe the Viridians aren't being truthful, Jason reported. They're studying Earth's military history and collecting genetic samples secretly. Eleanor added, I've analyzed the transmission patterns of their ships. They match ancient signals described in Zorlian records that Dr. Chen shared with us. Signals associated with a species called the Harvesters. Dr. Chen paled. The Harvesters? According to Zorlian mythology, they were conquerors who appeared suddenly, decimated civilizations, and disappeared with resources and captives. We believe the Viridians and these Harvesters may be the same species, Jason said, and their interest in our genetic relationship may have a darker purpose than alliance. Before anyone could respond, Ambassador Xylos requested entry to the meeting. The Earth leaders exchanged glances, then nodded. They needed to confront these new suspicions directly. Xylos entered, seeming to sense the change in atmosphere immediately. You've made a decision regarding our offer? President Mitchell studied the alien carefully. We've received some concerning information, Ambassador, about your true intentions. Xylos' expression didn't change. I see. Your scout ship has been quite busy. Yes, we have studied your military history. We needed to understand your capabilities before committing our forces alongside yours. And the genetic sampling? Dr. Chen asked. Verification of our shared lineage. Nothing more. Admiral Foster leaned forward. And what about the harvesters? The species that matches your transmission patterns. For the first time, Xylos seemed genuinely surprised. You have knowledge of the harvesters? Impressive. Few races remember them. Were they your ancestors? President Mitchell pressed. Xylos was silent for a long moment. Not ancestors. Competitors. The harvesters were a species that evolved parallel to Viridians. We defeated them long ago. And took their technology, Jason said from the screen, including their ships. The vessels you arrived in don't match the construction methods of the transport you came in. They're different technologies entirely. Xylos' demeanor changed subtly. Your species is more perceptive than we anticipated. Yes, we defeated the harvesters and adapted their technology, but our offer of alliance remains genuine. Eleanor spoke up. We found historical records in Zorlian databases. The harvesters didn't just disappear. They merged with another species through genetic assimilation. They became the Viridians, didn't they? The room fell silent as Xylos regarded them all with those unsettling black eyes. Your understanding of galactic history is incomplete, but not entirely inaccurate. The Viridian collective has evolved through many forms. Assimilation of compatible species has been one path of our growth. And that's what you plan for humanity, Admiral Foster said. Not alliance. Assimilation. We offer advancement, Xylos countered. Your genetic structure is compatible with ours in ways no other species has been for millennia. Together, we could become something greater than either of us alone. President Mitchell stood. We appreciate your offer, Ambassador, but humans prefer to determine our own path. We must decline your proposal of alliance. Xylos nodded slowly. As you wish. But consider carefully what awaits you. The Zorlian fleet approaches. Without our help, your chances of survival are minimal. We'll take those chances, Admiral Foster replied firmly. After Xylos departed, the Earth leaders gathered to formulate a response to the Zorlians. With both options, surrender or alliance with the Viridians, rejected, they needed a third path. What if we propose peace directly, suggested Dr. Chun. Not surrender, but a genuine offer to resolve the original misunderstanding. The Zorlians have already refused diplomatic solutions, Admiral Foster pointed out, because they believed they had the upper hand. President Mitchell said thoughtfully, but now they face a choice too. Fight us with the Viridians potentially entering the conflict, or consider a peaceful resolution. Ambassador Laura Bennett, who had returned from Proxima Station weeks earlier, spoke up. Let me draft a message to High Commander Zexcaler, one that acknowledges the original incident but offers a path forward that allows both sides to maintain their dignity. As Laura worked on the message, a new alert sounded. The Zorlian fleet had accelerated and would arrive sooner than expected. At the same time, the 5 Viridian vessels had changed position, moving to intercept the Zorlians. They're going to engage each other, Admiral Foster realized, with or without our involvement. The next few hours were tense as Earth watched the 2 alien forces approach each other. Laura finished her message, and it was transmitted to the Zorlian command ship. Surprisingly, a response came quickly. High Commander Zexcaler requested a direct communication with Earth's leaders. When his insectoid face appeared on the screen, the Zorlian commander seemed different than expected. Not arrogant, but concerned. President Mitchell of Earth, he began, his translated voice crackling slightly. Your message suggests you know the true nature of the Viridians. We have learned enough to decline their offer of alliance, she replied carefully. Zexcaler's mandibles clicked rapidly. A wise decision. The Viridians are not what they claim. They have been the doom of many species who trusted them. And yet you came to destroy us rather than warn us, Admiral Foster noted. A mistake, Zexcaler admitted. We saw only a potential threat in your reflection technology. We did not understand what you truly were until we faced you in battle. Laura Bennett stepped forward. And what are we, Commander? Survivors. Adaptable. Unpredictable. Like no other species we have encountered. The Zorlians seem to hesitate. The Viridians seek you for these qualities. Qualities they wish to absorb. We've rejected their offer, President Mitchell said firmly. Now we offer you an alternative to further conflict. Peace between our species, with mutual recognition and respect. The Zorlian commander was silent for a long moment. The Confederacy has never made peace with a species that has damaged our vessels. It is unprecedented. Much about this situation is unprecedented, Laura noted. Perhaps it's time for new precedents. As they spoke, the Viridian ships changed course, moving away from both Earth and the Zorlian fleet. Their plan for assimilation thwarted, they appear to be withdrawing. It seems the Viridians have made their decision, Zexscaler observed. Now we must make ours. The tension in Earth's war room was palpable as they awaited the Zorlian commander's response. Finally he spoke. The Zorlian Confederacy accepts your offer of peace, humans of Earth. We have much to learn from each other, it seems. As the communication ended, cheers erupted throughout the room. The war that had begun with misunderstanding had ended with a new understanding, not just between humans and Zorlians, but of humanity's place in the galaxy. Admiral Foster stood beside Ambassador Bennett at the viewing window, watching as the Zorlian fleet began to disperse, no longer in attack formation. It's ironic, Laura said quietly. They started a war with us because they thought we were dangerous. William nodded. And they ended it because they realized we are, just not in the way they expected. As Earth celebrated its first interstellar peace treaty, the Viridian ships vanished into the depths of space. Their interest in humanity was not ended, merely postponed. But when they returned, they would find humanity not isolated, but part of a growing network of galactic civilizations. Deadlier perhaps, but also wiser, and far less easily deceived.